And now a special edition of WNEM TV5 News.
Governor Rick Snyder is expected to take the stage any minute now to deliver the State of the State address. Thanks for watching this special edition of WNEM TV5 News at 7 on My5. I'm Meg McLeod.
And I'm David Custer. The topic on everyone's mind is likely to be the main topic of his speech today, the Flint Water Crisis. The Detroit News is reporting that tonight Governor Snyder will detail a 6-point plan to help Flint through the crisis. The $20 million initiative will include additional water filters and bottled water for the people of Flint. It will also give money to the city so they don't have to send out water shutoff notices to residents for not paying their bills. It will replace all faucets at Flint schools and daycare centers.
Next, it would provide medical help for affected children, including behavioral treatment. It would also provide support for health centers that care for children and teenagers. And finally, it would fund a study to examine Flint's water pipes. That work would be performed by independent contractors.
Now this all going on as protesters continue outside, organized by Flint native and award-winning director Michael Moore. Hundreds are gathering in front of the Capitol and on the steps with signs and even Flint tap water in bottles that they brought with them. Now we will continue to keep an eye on these protests as the speech gets underway.
And a little more than an hour ago, TV5's Sam Merrill caught up with Saginaw County State Representative Tim Kelly, who says Governor Snyder doesn't deserve all the blame for what's happened in Flint.
You're a Republican, so you would be expected to defend him, but a lot of people wonder how on earth you can defend the handling so far of this crisis.
Well, I think he's going to point out that there was some mistakes at every level, not just at the state, but at the state, our DEQ, a culture of exasperation, if you will. The governor's exasperated. I think he found out something that, unbeknownst to him, was a kind of a culture of neglect, and one that he's going to rectify. Dan Wyant's already resigned. I think that there was some issues at Health and Human Services. Every step of the way, there was some sort of breakdown. Again, at the local level, state and national. You know, the EPA's, their hands are just as dirty on this. We were following their protocol. So, and the decision to switch was made at the local level.
Now we're told that the governor is taking the podium right now. Let's send you out live to Lansing for Governor Rick Snyder's State of the State address. As you can see there, the governor is on the floor shaking the hands with many of the local lawmakers in the state of Michigan. While on the outside of the Capitol, as you can see, hundreds of folks are outside protesting right now. You can even see law enforcement outside trying to keep everything under control.
And TV5's Andrew Keller was out there all evening long talking with protesters and giving us a feel of what's really going on the Capitol lawn. He said people were chanting for the governor's resignation, which was also something spurred by Flint native Michael Moore. He also said there were many UAW members out there with their signs, again, chanting for something needs to be done in Flint about the water.
And we expect from the governor that he will explain a timeline of how this disaster in the city of Flint unfolded and when he learned of the serious nature of exactly everything that happened in Flint with the Flint Water Crisis. Let's listen in.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Members of the Joint Convention, the Governor of the State of Michigan, Rick Snyder.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Thank you. Thank you for joining me tonight. To Lieutenant Governor Brian Kelly, Speaker Kevin Cotter, Senate Majority Leader Arlen Meekoff, Senate Minority Leader Jim Ananick, House Minority Leader Tim Greimel, members of the Supreme Court, members of the Court of Appeals, Secretary of State Ruth Johnson, Attorney General Bill Schuette, Congressman Fred Upton, Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence, my cabinet, ladies and gentlemen of the legislature, fellow public servants, citizens of Michigan, and my family, I welcome you here tonight. I'd like to begin by also adding a special welcome, and that's to our active duty military, reserve, and National Guard members, members of law enforcement, and our veterans. Let's give them a shout out too, please. Thank you. Thank you. I do want to share one special situation with you with respect to our military. Last year, we had deployed the 127th Air Wing out of Selfridge. The 127th has two key elements in terms of their aircraft. They have the A-10 Warthog, which is a close air support unit that was actually deployed in the Middle East, dealing with terrorists, other issues over there, flying sorties. It also is the K-135 tanker, which actually was deployed refueling aircraft like the Warthog and other aircraft to make sure they could run those missions. We should be so proud. Our A-10 pilots actually flew roughly the equivalent of 3 years worth of flying in 6 months. In terms of the KC-135 pilots and their teams, their crews, all of them together, they did incredible work. They actually have a very special mission-critical role that they had a special inspection take place while they were deployed. And they did something that had never been achieved in the history of the Air Force, not just the Air Guard. They actually had an inspection where they showed 100% of the members of that unit received 100%. They were perfect. And so that shows the spirit of Michiganders. And to recognize them, I'm very proud to say we have Brigadier General Leonard Isabel, the commander of Michigan Air National Guard. We have Brigadier General John Slocum, the 127th Wing Commander with us from Selfridge. And we have Command Sergeant Major Daniel Lincoln, our State Command Sergeant Major. If you could all rise and if we could give them recognition for their incredible effort. They returned right before Christmas, and I was happy to say I had the opportunity to attend the returning ceremony, and when I heard about their incredible accomplishments, I had to share it with you because it's the best of Michigan, to show what they were doing in harm's way to keep us safe. In addition, it's important we recognize we have over 400 Michigan National Guard members currently serving overseas as I speak today. And all of Michigan should be glad to hear that Amir Hekmati of Flint, a Marine veteran, was finally released from Iran and will be welcoming home here soon in Michigan. And before I begin, in terms of the speech itself, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for all those who have fallen in protection of our communities and in defense of our country. Thank you. Tonight will be a different State of the State address. There's so much we could discuss about how we can make our great state even better, stronger over the next year. But tonight, I will address the crisis in Flint first and in depth. To begin, I'd like to address the people of Flint. Your families face a crisis you did not create and could not have prevented. I want to speak directly, honestly, and sincerely to let you know we are praying for you, we are working hard for you, and we are absolutely committed to taking the right steps to effectively solve this crisis. To you, the people of Flint, I say tonight, as I have before, I am sorry and I will fix it. No citizen of this great state should endure this kind of catastrophe. Government failed you, federal, state, and local leaders, by breaking the trust you placed in us. I'm sorry most of all that I let you down. You deserve better. You deserve accountability. You deserve to know that the buck stops here with me. Most of all, you deserve to know the truth, and I have a responsibility to tell the truth about what we've done and what we'll do to overcome this challenge. Tomorrow I will release my 2014 and 2015 emails regarding Flint to you, the citizens, so you will have answers to your questions about what we've done and what we're doing to make this right for the families of Flint. Anyone will be able to read this information for themselves at michigan.gov/Snyder. Because the most important thing we can do right now is to work hard and work together for the people of Flint. Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. I know apologies won't make up for the mistakes that were made. Nothing will. But I take full responsibility to fix the problem so it will never happen again. Let me tell you what's been done so far and what we'll be doing in the coming days, weeks, months, and years to keep our commitment to you, to make Flint an even cleaner, safer, stronger city than it was before, because that's what you and your families deserve. We are working to do whatever we must until this crisis is resolved. The people of Flint have chosen a new mayor, and I'm personally committed to work hand in hand with Mayor Weaver so we can rebuild the trust that's been broken. I've already taken steps to bring new leadership to the Department of Environmental Quality. These are individuals who understand the severity of the problem and who will effectively communicate to the people of the state. For those whose mistakes contributed to this disaster, we are fully cooperating with investigations and will hold those individuals accountable. And let me be perfectly clear to all of state government. In situations like this, they must come to my desk immediately, no delays, no excuses, period. Thank you. We will provide resources to help anyone and everyone that is affected, just as we've provided since we first learned of this crisis. In addition to emails, tonight I'm releasing a comprehensive timeline of the steps we've taken and the actions underway to solve this crisis. Let me walk you through the facts. First, this crisis began in the spring of 2013 when the Flint City Council voted 7-1 to buy water from the Karagandhi Water Authority, the KWA. Former Flint Mayor Walling supported the move, and the emergency manager approved the plan. DWSD, the Department of Detroit Water and Sewer Department, provided notice of termination effective 1 year later, and on April 25th, 2014, Flint began to use water from the Flint River as an interim source. Second, Soon after the switch from Detroit water to Flint River water, residents complained about the water, the color, the smell, rashes, and concerns with bacteria. Ultimately, localized boil water advisories were issued by the city of Flint in August and September of 2014, each lasting several days. Third, the Department of Environmental Quality and the Federal Environmental Protection Agency began communicating about lead concerns in February 2015. Sadly, both were ineffective in fully addressing and solving the problem. DEQ misinterpreted the water safety regulations, and EPA did not act with sufficient urgency to address the concerns of one of its experts about DEQ's approach and the risk of lead contamination. In May 2015, lead service lines to 1 residence were removed and replaced due to high lead service levels. But still, they both failed to systematically identify and solve the problem. Fourth, in July 2015, my office proactively asked about the quality of Flint's water, test results, and blood testing. The DEQ told us that Flint was in compliance with the lead and copper rule. They told us there was one concern with one house that was corrected and there was nothing widespread to address. The Department of Health and Human Services also told us that the elevated blood lead levels were to be expected because they followed a normal seasonal trend. These conclusions were later shown to be incorrect when the Department of Health and Human Services conducted a deeper analysis of the relevant data. Fifth, in May, Professor Mark Edwards from Virginia Tech and Dr. Mona Anna Atisha sounded an alarm about lead in Flint's water. But tragically, based on what DEQ and the Department of Health, intelligent vehicles, autonomous and connected vehicles, and smart infrastructure, and how it communicates with vehicles. Several years ago, we created something exciting in partnership with the University of Michigan and a lot of partners called the Michigan Mobility Transformation Center. This is actually a real project that you may not realize is taking place in southeastern Michigan. They literally have a test bed of thousands of connected vehicles talking to infrastructure even today. And when I say connected vehicles, do not worry. Many of you may confuse that with autonomous vehicles. These still have drivers in them, so you can feel safe on the road. But this is part of our future, and we need to do more. Just this last year, we did a partnership and launched something called the M-City. It's a 32-acre campus at the University of Michigan that is for testing autonomous and connected vehicles. A closed-loop system that has many different environments. It is swamped. The auto industry has overwhelmed this place with demand because they're looking for a place to do this kind of work. So M-City is not good enough. So what I propose to you, and I've already been working in partnership with our congressional delegation, and I thank them for their efforts, is to look to create the American Center for Mobility at Willow Run. We have an opportunity to create over a 300-acre campus that would be the world's best place to test intelligent vehicles, whether autonomous and connected. And this place is critically important. The industry needs it, but we need to bring in the federal government and say, this is the place where the standards for safe operation should take place, is right here in Michigan at Willow Run. And it can be the base for international standards. That's how we can help keep leadership of the auto industry in Michigan, by making that future-looking investment and doing the right thing to make sure that really exciting car you saw at the Detroit Auto Show, in 10 years, just think, it will still have wheels, but it's a computer on wheels. We need a place like this to make sure we maintain our leadership for the long-term future. Thank you. The last item I talked about automotive going to mobility was an opportunity that could become a threat. Now I want to talk about something It's been a great opportunity for many years, but we face a major threat. It's the Soo Locks. The Soo Locks is something we always talk about and we're proud of, but often we don't talk about how important it is. More than 4,000 commercial ships a year use the locks annually. The locks are absolutely crucial to supplying the iron ore that makes the steel for all those vehicles I just talked about, and many of our appliances. If you look at it, most of the tonnage goes through one specific lock, the pole lock, because it's a 1,000-foot lock. The other locks cannot accommodate the carriers that we see. So the pole lock is absolutely critical to our future. The issue is there's one of them. And an analysis was done. What would happen if that one lock went down? It would devastate Michigan's economy. To be blunt, it could devastate the national economy. Think about it. We'd run out of steel. And this is the kind of steel that doesn't come from other places. It is based on the ore that comes through the Soo Locks. It's interesting if you look at the history. A second 1,000-foot lock was actually authorized, believe it or not, in 1986 by the federal government. Congress approved the second lock. They simply didn't allocate any money to build it. This is something we need to work with Congress on getting done. And the important part of this is, I'm proud to say, we have partners within the federal government that we've been working well on making sure we explain this issue to the public, to the leaders in Washington, and a commitment to get it done. And I'd like to recognize two great partners, again, up in our gallery with our other military people. We have Captain Steve Teschendorf of the United States Coast Guard and Lieutenant Colonel Michael Sellers, Jr. of the United States Army Corps of Engineers. If you could please rise. Just as I mentioned, a commission on infrastructure, a commission on education. When those commissions get their work done, we need to aggregate this to talk about the economy of the future. So I am also going to appoint a commission on building the 21st century economy. Our economy is more productive than it has ever been in years. We're doing better, but better isn't good enough. We need to be committed to continuous improvement, delivering the healthy economy that Michigan deserves, one that provides opportunities for every Michigan, every person that wants to work hard, get ahead, and stay ahead. Let's build on that work of those first two commissions, but let's also add the concept of innovation and long-term economic tools and creating a culture of continuous innovation. And I'm proud to say we have a group that really represents that here tonight. I made a trip to the Upper Peninsula last year, and I went and visited Northern Michigan University. And they took me to a place, I think it was an old bank branch. It wasn't even near campus that much. And I walked in, and it was about students helping inventors. The inventors were walking in with ideas. The students were talking to those inventors about the ones that could be made into real products. And it's happening right up in Marquette today. This is a program that should be all throughout Michigan. Think about this, engaging our students with our inventors, creating new economic opportunities. It's exciting. And so I ask that you give recognition. Also with us tonight in that same section of the gallery is we have a group of students and some of their leaders from Invent at NMU. Please rise. We need to create an environment that supports economic development and encourages business to grow. Opportunity needs to be part of our DNA in the state, and I'm going to ask them for the report by the end of December. Now, in summary tonight, the challenges we face in Flint, in Detroit, and beyond are serious but solvable. The question is, can we come together today in a spirit of cooperation to find the solutions that people deserve? Or will we succumb to crisis and allow politics and finger-pointing to overcome the real needs of real people. We have to solve this challenge because every single citizen depends on us, and we need to give them a better, brighter future. They deserve it, to raise a family, to work hard, to get ahead. I'm personally committing the next 3 years of my administration to tirelessly work to ensure that the families of Flint can heal from this wound and that every Michigander enjoys the quality of life they deserve. To do this, I ask in return that your prayers include the people of Flint. I ask for the continuing strong partnership, counsel, and commitment of all of our legislators gathered here. And I ask for the commitment of all of our citizens to work together as Michiganders with relentless positive action and to hold me accountable for results. I sought the office of Governor of Michigan to reinvent our state because we were broken in many ways. We've repaired and reinvented many critical items over the past 5 years, including issues that many didn't think could be solved. But the crisis in Flint makes it clear to me that more needs to be done. It is truly a humbling experience to see the people you work for and care for harmed by the people that work for you. But Michiganders don't quit. We don't give up. Instead, we'll work with even more passion and commitment to truly improve our state. For everyone who's chosen to make Michigan their home, this is more than a promise. This is my commitment. Thank you, and God bless Michigan and our nation.
All right, we are seeing Governor Snyder wrapping up his State of the State address. No one doubted one of the most important speeches of his entire career.
Yeah, after an introduction, Governor Snyder said this was a different State of the State address, and he dove right into the Flint water crisis, even sporting a Flint logo pin on his lapel that was given to him by Flint Mayor Karen Weaver. Now, Governor Snyder started by saying he wanted to speak directly to the people of Flint. He said, and I quote, "I am sorry and I will fix it." He went on to say that the government failed Flint. He went as far as to say he wanted to show he's taking responsibility and followed that up saying people need the truth, and he's going to show people that. Without a doubt, one of the biggest moments from this State of the State address tonight. He says he will show transparency by releasing all his emails relating to the Flint water crisis from the years of 2014 and 2015. And he said those emails will be online tomorrow for everyone to read. Now, that is showing that he is taking full responsibility for this crisis in his own words tonight.
Governor Snyder also outlined a timeline of the Flint water crisis. While he initially said he takes full responsibility, he also said others should also be held accountable. Most notably, the Flint City Council for voting 7-1 in March of 2013 to leave the Detroit water system and buy water from the Carignan pipeline. He also said by April of 2014, the city started using Flint River water. Then by March of 2015, a water consultant said the Flint water met state and federal standards. And then, of course, we saw it all unfold between the summer and fall, emails being exchanged expressing concern about the DEQ and the EPA about a lack of corrosion control. Of course, he also brought up former Flint Mayor Dane Walling in his role, and the DHHS also talking about the lead problem in Flint's water.
All right, again, tonight, Governor Snyder starting the entire speech talking about the crisis in Flint and then outlining his timeline of how he says things happened leading up to the crisis and what he's going to do moving forward, and asking everyone to pray for the residents of the city of Flint. So that'll do it for us here tonight. We, of course, will have the Democratic response starting tonight on TV5 News at 10 on My5.
And we'll have a complete wrap-up, of course, at 10, as well as a little bit more from what's going on outside on the Capitol lawn from TV5's Andrew Keller. We'll see you then.